Today, we are going to discuss about a very important topic. It is educational psychology. So, this unit is very important in terms of teachers training because it helps the teachers to understand their students better and also helps them to work effectively in their classroom. So, in this unit, we will be discussing nature, scope, and importance of educational psychology. Also, we will be touching upon individual differences and various methods of teaching. So, as the name suggests, educational psychology is a branch of psychology that deals with education. Okay, educational psychology is an applied psychology. We have learned about applied psychology, the branch of psychology, two branches of psychology. Okay, so educational psychology is the applied psychology. It is the practical application of concepts of theories of psychology in education. Let us understand educational psychology. When we apply psychological theories and studies in education, we can observe a positive change in the learner as well as a very effective teaching from the end of the teacher. Now, to understand this better, let us move ahead and revise what education is. This topic has been discussed in one of my videos also, what education is all about. So, let us revise it once again. Education is the process of facilitating learning or acquisition of knowledge, skill, values, morals, beliefs, and habits. Educational methods include teaching, training, discussion, etc. We can understand that the aim of education is to achieve an all-round development of a child, right? So, education aims at not only bringing in efficiency in curricular activities, but also co-curricular activities. So, educational psychology is a branch of applied psychology that helps in the process of education. Now, education takes place in the society and it is a very dynamic process, which means it is always evolving and developing. Education has an impact of social level as well as individual level. Means that educational psychology explains that our students come from various backgrounds and they have different aptitude, intelligence, and learning methods. So, as a teacher, one must be able to teach considering all these differences, and this is possible only if you are able to understand the concepts and experiments that were conducted in our general psychology classes. We have learned about many of the concepts and we will be also learning new concepts in our future lessons. So, the aim of educational psychology is not to impart education. It aims to make methods of teaching effective based on the learner's mental process and activities. Now that we understand what educational psychology is, let us look at few definitions of educational psychology. Educational psychology, according to Crow and Crow, is the process that describes and explains the learning experience of an individual from birth to old age. Now, according to B.F. Skinner, educational psychology is a branch of psychology which deals with teaching and learning. Now, Peel says educational psychology is the science of education. One definition from G.S. Thompson I would like to discuss about education. He says education is nothing but a cumulative effect of the external impact of environment. This impact brings about changes and betterment in the conduct, habit, and behavior of the subject. In other words, it is through education that good habits develop in an individual. Now, when you write your answers during your exam, stating one of the examples would be very beneficial for you. Now, let us understand who is the father of educational psychology. Father of educational psychology is Edward Ely Thorndike. His lifespan was from 1874 to 1949. Though these chronological lifespans are not very important, but then you can understand how things have developed in psychology if you look at these chronological lifespans of people. So it will be easy for you to remember during exams. Now let us move to our next topic. The next topic is educational process. So educational process can be divided into 5 subheadings. The first one is a learner. The second one is a learning experience. Third is the learning process. Fourth is learning environment. And the fifth is the teacher. In earlier days, if we see the process, the teacher would have come first. But now the learner has come as the foremost point in the process of education. Now, educational psychology focuses on individual level. That is, the learner is the most important factor in the complete educational process, right? So in our classroom, which factor plays the most important role in education? Yes, the child or the student. Now, with the help of educational psychology, we can understand many things about the learner. For example, behavior. We can understand every behavior pattern of the learner, like his overt behavior or maybe covert behavior, his conscious and subconscious state of mind and behaviors. We can thereby understand about the abilities of the child in our classroom, like what he is thinking, what are his thinking patterns, what motivates him, what demotivates him, etc. The next point is learning experience. Now, learning experience refers to any interaction or method in which learning takes place. For example, our students now are having very different learning experience. The traditional academic method has now changed to online mode, and we are seeing students using chats and mails, etc. to reach their teachers to clarify their doubts. Also, we can observe that the students now can learn in many ways, like the traditional way in which we have been learning. Now, the interactive sessions online is another way. They get video lessons which they can revise. They have games and other platforms for learning and making learning fun. This wide way of learning is the learning experience that one undergoes. Let us move to the next stage, learning process. The process that people pass through to acquire or develop new skill and knowledge which can influence their attitude, decision and action is called the learning process. With the help of educational psychology, this process becomes more comfortable and effective. When we move further in this unit, we will be seeing a lot of terminologies in terms of learning experience like memory, retention, recall, attention, etc. So we will be learning all this in detail. Now the next one is learning environment. Educational psychology helps us to develop a good infrastructure and technique, or say an environment to assist learning. Having said this, I will send you a small lesson note from last year on school ergonomics. Please listen to it, okay? Now the last one here is a teacher. Educational psychology helps a teacher in many ways. Example, it helps in introspection of self, also of others. It also helps the teacher to understand the individual learning abilities of children in the classroom, right? It also helps to bring desired results in children. This, let us learn it through an example, okay? For example, let us assume that we have 2 types of children in our classroom. One is an over-participative child. Now, such children we might have come across when we were in school. These children over-participate, to a level that it disturbs the class. And and there is another child, let us assume, like he does not participate in the class at all. So as a teacher, we aim to bring down over participation by encouraging behaviors like turn taking, waiting for the right turn to come, and also to encourage the child who hesitates or fears in coming in front by rewarding him or appreciating him. Let us take another example. We can take off two situations of a child who finishes his or her snacks and starts eating from others' share. On a contrary, we have a picky eater. Now, using positive and negative reinforcement techniques, we can help these two children achieve desired results in behavior modification, right? So now let us sum up what educational psychology is. Educational psychology is a positive science that focuses on using psychological approaches in education to make learning effective and effort-free. Okay? It studies memory, imagination, sensation, thinking, and other sensorial experiences. Let us move into our next topic now. It is history of educational psychology. Now, who started the behaviorism concept? Yes, J.B. Watson. Now, Watson had a student named E.L. Thorndike. He did so many experiments on animals, and then he started applying them on humans, especially in educational sector, and he became really famous in educational field. And so this is why Thorndike is known as father of educational psychology. So even today we imply his learnings, many of his theories, in our classroom learning, like law of readiness, law of practice, law of effect, etc. Now, one interesting information that I would like to share, this concept of homework was also given by Thorndike. Okay. Now that's a question each irritated child asks his parent, his or her parent, and the answer we all know now. This reward punishment concept was also given by Thorndike. Now, anyone of you who are going to write exams, entrance exams, you will have to take notes of these names and his theory very well, like an omnipresent person in all the chapters of educational psychology. Now, after Thorndike, after a point of time, we can see an American philosopher and educationalist emerging who challenged Thorndike's concepts. His name was John Dewey. Dewey's concepts were ethical ideals of humanity. He considered two fundamental elements, school and the civil society. He was a primary figure associated with the philosophy of pragmatism. Pragmatism is a philosophical tradition that considers words, tools as an instrument for predicting and solving problems. He is also known as the father of functional psychology. Now, John Dewey developed a lab or an experimental method. He initiated the University of Chicago Laboratory School. Though due to Thorndike's ideas, he was not accepted much initially, but later on his ideas got more into and acceptance. See, if you can get some of his books, do read them, like The Child and the Curriculum, The School of Tomorrow. Okay, do read them if you get an opportunity. John Dewey is very important and his theories are also very important. So I'll be making a video in future if time permits. And one of his theory that we all use today is called progressive educational theory. So I'll try to explain this also in one of my videos. Now on your screen you can see here is a list of educational psychologists. You may read or take a note about them. If you are going to appear for any entrance exam, you will have to understand them better. Now, educational psychology is an applied psychology which are well researched outcome of many studies and theories. Here I will be briefing you about around 15 subjects of study and how they influence educational psychology. The first one is heredity and environment. Second is human physiology. Third is growth and development. Fourth is intelligence and maturity. Fifth is principles of teaching education. Sixth is guidance counseling. Seventh is psychology of teaching. Then is personality theories. We will also be going through sociology, then childhood character building. Then we will be learning about EQ, IQ and SQ. We will be learning about mental hygiene. We will be learning about normal and abnormalities. We will be studying about behavior. And very importantly, we will be also going through solutions that educational psychology offer. In our next class, we will be also learning about the individual differences from psychological perspective and constructing a proper curriculum based on physical and mental capabilities of a child. The future classes will be very interesting, and we will be learning to find solution to problem behaviors, problems in learning, and understanding individual differences and working on strength of a child. In a teacher's life, it is that moment when you and your student understand the accomplishment and the success in education that you have imparted. This moment is like beyond words. This is the reward of a teacher, and that is why people say that teaching profession is like very satisfying profession. So let us learn more about educational psychology and make positive changes in the students we will be coming across in our lives, and we can make meaningful changes in their lives too. So see you all in next class.